Michael Jordan just went toe-to-toe with LeBron's agent, and it got tense fast. What happened behind closed doors could shake the NBA like never before. Picture walking into a VIP lounge where only the top people get in. Music is blasting, drinks are flowing, and the energy is wild. Then, suddenly, everything goes quiet. Everyone turns because Michael Jordan is standing just inches from Rich Paul. No smiles. This isn't a friendly greeting. MJ's hand is gripping Rich's shoulder like he could push him through the wall. His stare? Cold, like he did against the Pistons, and 91. Rich Paul looks like he wants to disappear. All the podcast talk and debates don't matter when the real basketball legend is right in front of you. Behind the scenes, things between MJ and Rich have been tense. Rich has made bold claims, linking MJ to the crack epidemic and saying he isn't the greatest ever. This goes far beyond basketball stats. Clutch Sports seems to be trying to rewrite history before LeBron James retires. And honestly, it started to look desperate. T.O. understand why MJ almost confronted Rich at a Miami gala. Look at the noise Rich has been spreading for years. It started back in 2023 on a podcast when Rich said LeBron's path was harder because he had to chase Jordan's shadow straight out of high school.
But I just think LeBron's antlers is in platinum and Michael's may be in gold. Why? Because when you think about, he had to be compared to Mike. Who did Mike have to be compared to?
Talk about it.
Think about that for a second. Rich Paul is spinning things hard. He's basically saying that handling expectations is harder than dominating every opponent for 15 years. Like being called the chosen one on a magazine cover is heavier than surviving beatings from the bad boy Pistons. That's wild logic. It's a classic corporate play. If you can't beat MJ's 6-0 finals record, try to make it seem less impressive. But things got even darker on January 6th. On the Max Kellerman podcast, Rich pulled out a whiteboard and dropped one of the strangest takes ever. Instead of crediting MJ's 6 championships or business sense, he blamed the Jordan brand's global success on the crack epidemic. He claimed MJ's legacy wasn't about basketball greatness, but about 80s and 90s street culture obsessed with status and chaos.
These people had basically not even careers or high-paying jobs. They just had hustles. So now when you bring forth the crack epidemic, it created a revenue stream amongst a group of consumers that, number one, would have never had that dollar to spend.
He said, and I'm quoting him directly, people didn't buy MJ stuff to be like Michael Jordan. They wanted to be like Max, the guy with the BMW and the girl on his arm.
And you used me as an example because I was sitting in front of you. You said, it's not that Michael Jordan did this, it's that the influencer who had the BMW or whatever, you said, like Max with the fly girl and the BMW. So you're saying
what
that
I was saying was the hustler.
Rich Paul was straight up clowning MJ fans, calling them shallow. He tried to claim that the greatest athlete ever was just lucky, riding a cultural wave. He even suggested Martin Lawrence and Will Smith did more for the sneaker game than Jordan himself. That wasn't analysis. That was a direct hit on the heart of the Jordan brand that MJ built a $4 billion empire on excellence, discipline, and dominance. Rich went on a media spree implying it was all just timing and trends. That's when the quiet, patient Michael Jordan disappeared. You don't disrespect a man's fans and life's work just to make your client look better. Anyone who knows MJ knows 2 things are off limits: his legacy and the people who supported it. Rich went after both. Rich isn't just an agent. He's the mastermind behind LeBron's brand. To lift his guy, he had to tear down the standard. He kept digging into the 80s, saying MJ benefited from less media noise, and even hinted that if LeBron played in 1988, he'd have MJ's $4 billion brand. But that ignores one fact. MJ created the global superstar blueprint from scratch. Before him, NBA players were just guys in short shorts. After him, players became gods. Rich tried to call that cultural synergy, but it was really just a way to downplay MJ's work. He even said MJ's business success came from understanding royalties, as if that cheapened his legacy. Nope. That actually shows MJ is smarter than everyone else, including LeBron. Rich also pushed the idea that MJ had it easy, that his legacy was inflated because he played before the 24/7 news cycle. And he didn't stop there. Rich Paul said social media would have exposed MJ's bad games, which is ironic coming from the guy who carefully controls the media for his clients. The same man who pulls all the strings behind the scenes suddenly acts like MJ had it easy. He went even further, claiming MJ was protected by critics like Peter Vexi, making it sound like 90s media was all cheerleading. Anyone who lived through that era knows that's nonsense. MJ was criticized, questioned, and doubted nonstop.
That's a whole nother thing that Mike never had to deal with because his hardest critic was probably Peter Vessey.
Yep. Straight up.
You see what I'm saying?
Do you see the pattern? Every time Rich talks, he drops a new excuse. First, it's MJ was lucky with timing. Then it's MJ was shaped by the hood, or MJ had it easier. It's a slow drip meant to weaken Michael Jordan's legend over time. The goal is clear. When LeBron retires, the switch feels natural, like it was always meant to happen. But MJ isn't fooled. He spent his whole life reading defenses and spotting traps. He saw this one coming from a mile away. So when he grabbed Rich Paul's shoulder in Miami, it wasn't just anger. It was a warning. You can buy podcasts, control narratives, and show up with all the white bards you want, but you can't buy what people felt watching MJ dominate in '98. And trust this, when you break down MJ's numbers from that era, the truth is even scarier than the myth. That charity event hallway moment, not just a quick exchange. Word inside the league is MJ made a move that could leave LeBron without a single strong ally in the league office. IT all went down in a lockdown VIP lounge in Miami. January night, bass rattling your chest, music shaking the room. NBA legends, Hollywood power players, the absolute top tier were there. But the second MJ stepped into Rich Paul's space, that polished Hollywood shield cracked. Rich is used to being untouchable, the chess master moving pieces behind the scenes. MJ is pure instinct, no scripts, no handlers. Insiders say Michael never raised his voice. He didn't need to. He stood there, cigar in hand, looking at Rich like it was back in Akron, when nothing was promised and everything had to be earned. MJ leaned in and said the line that shook the entire lounge. You can buy the media, you can buy the shoes, but you don't get to buy my history with one sentence. In seconds, years of spin vanished. Everything Rich spent 15 years building got brushed aside. Witnesses say Rich froze, drink in hand, looking like he wanted the floor to swallow him. He's used to owners and executives playing the corporate game, but Jordan doesn't play that game. That MJ wasn't finished. He leaned in closer. You don't get to rewrite my life because you can't sell yours. That wasn't just words. That was a power move that shut down a whole strategy. Without yelling, MJ made it clear. If LeBron's story was really better than mine, you wouldn't need every podcast to tear me down. Then Jordan released Rich's shoulder, took a slow pull from a cigar, and walked off like the king he's always been. No scene, no rant, just dominance. But MJ didn't stop there. While Rich was still gathering himself, MJ made a move behind the scenes, a call that could leave LeBron without a single strong ally in the league office before his retirement tour even starts. And don't get it twisted. This isn't just on Rich Paul. LeBron himself has been playing a quiet, passive-aggressive game for years. He won't say it to MJ's face, but the little shots have always been there. It became obvious after the 2016 Finals comeback. Everyone remembers that clip from More Than an Athlete, where LeBron stared into the camera and called himself the greatest player of all time. That one moment says it all. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this breakdown hit, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a real Hoops fan. We're just getting started. See you on the next one.